Okay, all right. Okay, looks like we're rolling. Hold on. Okay, greetings, greetings, greetings. Greetings, Aquarius, that's you. This is Tarot Lumination with your love and relationship report for August 2018. Okay, before we get into it, just a couple of notes here. Uh, I'm going to do a little bit of the astrology for you because of the eclipse. Okay, so here you are. This is you, Aquarius. These are my own astro doodles. I hope you don't mind. And it's different for everybody. Sometimes it helps. A lot of people seem to like having the little astro notes in the background. So let's just give you a heads up here. Hold on. I got kind of a mess going on. Give me a second. All right, there we go. So I don't know if you can see this. I'll do my best to show you. This is you, Aquarius, August 2018. We have the new moon Leo eclipse on August the 11th, okay? And that happens for you, guess what? In your seventh house of significant relationships. So this is kind of a big deal for you. August is kind of a big deal for you anyway, because it's your opposing energy with all the Leo stuff going on. But with the Leo eclipse, it's magnified pretty seriously, okay? So to keep it really, really simple, it's actually kind of a stressful eclipse because of the Uranus and Taurus and the Jupiter and Scorpio thing hard squaring, okay? So there's a lot of pressure on you in your significant relationships, especially the one-on-one types that you would call like a business contract, a marriage, where it is an open, chosen relationship. You know, it's not just something that you're drifting around, but this is like serious one-on-one. We're talking about the open enemy, your best ally, your marriage, your worst enemy, your business partner, contractually chosen relationships, things that are binding, where you have clear, open, everything is clear and right out in the open. It's almost like looking in a mirror. You get the very best and the very worst of each other. So with the eclipses, of course, Sun, Moon, Mercury, and the North Node, it's asking you to do is let go of anything and everything that is no longer yours when it comes to love and relationship. Like, dear angels, bring me that which is mine. Dear angels, take away that which is not mine. That which is or which is not could be anything, a person, an attitude, a belief, a situation, whatever it might be. But with the energy of an eclipse, eclipse things out and eclipse things in. So it's a time of significant change. Now, the thing about this particular eclipse, this is the very last one over the year and a half of eclipses that we've had on the Leo Aquarius axis, 2017, 2018, and everything's going to flip next year into the Cancer Capricorn axis. So for now, this is like the last big event for you, Aquarius, the Leo new moon eclipse, August 11th. This is like a huge before and after moment. Before the eclipse and then after the eclipse. Remember, the eclipse is going to extrapolate for months and months to come. So the best thing to do is just surrender, ride through it, just basically tell your angels, bring it on. Whatever has to go, take it away. Whatever needs to come in, bring it on, okay? Otherwise, you could take it personally and things could get bumpy. When we get into the spread, we're going to do it like this, okay? I think you might have seen this before on other reports. With Tarot Lumination, we use Tarot Lumination Crucible spread. It's on the understanding that there's you, there's a significant other, and there's a third entity, the relationship itself. And in a healthy, loving relationship, you and the other relate through the relationship, hence the crucible. Okay, it's like a bowl type structure. Crucible is designed specifically, especially in a loving, healthy relationship, to withstand intense pressures as we intimate, as we separate, which is what happens every day, every moment of every relationship, whether we like it or know it or not. We're always intimating and always separating. We're always radiating energy and receiving energy. Think of yourself as a cell phone in voice mode. And the same for the other, okay? So let's have a look. We're going to pull out the cards accordingly. Cards are well shuffled in advance. If you've been here before, you know the routine. No jumpers, no flyers, no oracles, no reversals. For now, that's just how it is. Sorry about that. We're just using the most primitive deck that there is. Not primitive, the most elemental. And that's all we can handle for now. Maybe we'll upgrade one day soon. Watch for your sun, moon, and rising, especially if they're all different. Cross-watch for your significant others, too, if you kind of want to get some background. It might be very helpful for you, Aquarius, considering so much of what's going to happen with you in the eclipse is to do with a significant other or significant others, okay? So in a loving, healthy relationship, the crucible is invested, okay? Both parties invest in the crucible, the structure of the relationship. It's like you own a house together, you own a car together, you own property together, and you don't want it to fall apart. You want it to be as good as you can. So you work with each other to build the relationship, and you conduct everything through the relationship, as opposed to trying to extract whatever you can from each other, which is actually quite common. Anyway, let's have a look. Here we go. Give us a second. We're almost there. All right, here we go. Cards are shuffled, all right? We're going to cut it up, and we're going to go for it. All right, this is you and the love energy that you're radiating. If you're single, you can still watch this so long as you allow for the laws of attraction, that you're putting out energy and that energy gets eventually reflected back to you, so you could think of the other as like what if type of energy. Meanwhile, for those who are hooked up, here is the other, the energy of the other that they are radiating deep inside of you, deep inside of the other, and at the core of the bedrock, the relationship itself. Here is the crucible, okay? That exists whether we know it, like it or not. Over here is the momentum and prospects, because it is a living thing. It's like a living thing, like a plant or a tree or a garden. Over here is circumstantial energy. Think of it as weather. And this is not a couples reading. It's all about you, Aquarius, and we're allowing for the significant other. So this is all about you, what's around you, the weather, the Knight of Wands. Okay, my feeling is that these eclipses, even if it's very uncomfortable for you, it might get you really, really fired up to like do the very, very best you can to ride this wave as best as you can, because deep inside you probably have a sense like this is like going for broke. And if you don't get it right on this eclipse, then there's going to be like a 20-year cycle where you're going to have to figure out everything that you didn't figure out now. So it's like, it's time to go for it. Let's really like put everything we've got into this. It takes a huge amount of courage to deliberately and willingly throw yourself into the eclipse energy, knowing that you're going to be rattled and shaken and rolled. Okay, but that's good. Okay, I'm happy. I'm happy for you, Aquarius. I know sometimes Aquarians can be very, very brittle. You like just touch them in the wrong place for wrong reason, whatever. They can like crack because so a lot of times they're not aware of your own emotional sensitivities. But when they are triggered, it can be really, really almost like shocking for an Aquarius. So please don't put too much pressure on yourself. Remember that you're a soft, mushy being with bones and stuff and organs inside of you. And you have to live through the eclipses just like everyone else. It doesn't have to be a scientific experiment all the time. It can be like a luscious thing, okay? It could be very exciting. It could be very liberating, you know? Oh, you know what I wanted to show you? Because of the Jupiter, did I say this already? The Jupiter Uranus placements here, there's a lot of pressure on this eclipse, okay? So please allow for that too. What are you radiating here? Let's have a look. The Hanged Man. The Hanged Man, to me, it makes me feel as though you're kind of aware of what's happening. It's almost like, I like to think of it in terms of big wave surfing when we're talking about this degree of intensity of eclipses. And it's right on the North Node, and it's all there in your 7th house of relationship to begin. That's kind of like an OMG moment for all Aquarians. And for you in particular, Aquarius, to the point where it could give you almost like an out of body experience, like you know how when you're facing danger or facing excitement or facing something like profoundly inevitable, which feels so much bigger than you, where you can feel disempowered. It can make you feel as though you're kind of getting disembodied or going numb, or like you're going to faint or black out as you face into these things. And so, like sometimes, like, have you heard the expression die before you die? So sometimes it looks to me like you're deliberately taking the posture of allowing yourself to move forward, knowing that things could get very disorienting for you as you close into the eclipse and as you come out the eclipse on the other side. So over the next, 2, 4, 6, 8 weeks, it could be, well, I don't know. Eclipses have kind of a long ripple effect. The energy will become much more gentle towards the end of September, but for the time being, it looks to me like going through August, it could be really disorienting for you. Okay, and somehow or other you seem to know that already, so you're already poised, knowing that you you have the potential to get really wigged out by all of this. Okay, so let's see what's happening over there in a significant other. Okay. Well, lucky for you, Aquarius, it looks like you might be dealing with someone who has an awareness of this, and they don't want anything bad to happen. In fact, it's almost like they're deliberately stepping out of the way so that you can have the chance to go through your metamorphosis. Because it is going to be like a metamorphosis for you, like uh, caterpillar, cocoon, butterfly, eclipse. Okay, eclipse. The, there's the you before the eclipse. There's the you during the eclipse, cocooned, getting through it in this weird like way, and then coming out the other side, essentially becoming a new person in how you relate to others and how others relate to you. And it looks to me that if you're one of the lucky Aquarians, you've got someone who at least has a vague idea of what's happening with you, and they're deliberately choosing to uh, allow you to do this and be this way without it upsetting them or the relationship. Almost the opposite. It's almost like they are withdrawing from anything that could trigger conflict or combative situations, because they are probably aware that they are the mirror to you. Like potentially they could be your worst enemy. And, in a loving relationship, they wouldn't seek that. They would be aware of the pitfalls that can happen in the relationship, and they would maneuver around that and bolster up against it, and feed it with the healing power of love, so that things have a chance of working. Because it's like, well, if it works for you, then that's good for me. So I'm investing love in the relationship by getting out of the way, by deliberately not taking any bait that could normally trigger me into like combative reflex reactions. Because with the Mars energy, like it's potentially quite volatile, so it's almost like forewarned is forearmed. They can withdraw from like the battlefronts of relationship, and like like poise themselves for like being their most loving selves with you, so that however turbulent this might be for you as the individual in the context of a loving relationship where both parties intimate and separate kind of on a regular basis, because this, in a committed relationship, that's what happens anyway, unless you guys are heavily self-medicated and you're flatlining your whole way through the relationship. But hopefully that's not happening, and you're actually allowing yourself to have the fluidity to live through the relationship. It looks like they are doing you a serious favor by allowing you to wig out, and then they're not taking it personally. It's almost like even if you get combative because the pressure is too much, they will only come back with love. Okay, and so that's like in an indirect way, that's a very healing kind of gesture and behavior. So I'm very happy to see this over here for you, Aquarius. Let's have a look. What's going on deep inside, okay? All right. With the Emperor here, my feeling is that in some ways you're scared of the power and the dynamics that are happening here because the eclipse energy is going to be so strong in the seventh house, where it's like it could almost feel like it's the whole world is against you in terms of relationship, like all this energy piling up here in your house of polarity, your seventh house of opposition. It could almost make you feel as though uh, it's just like your sense of power could be threatened to the point where you might react with the energy of absolute power, like the maniacal dictator, the what's the word? The absolutist, where like don't worry about what I do as I say. And that can get you into trouble. But also my feeling is that deep inside you know that you're going to have to maintain like extremely high levels of what I would say selfhood here. Okay, selfhood, because your sense of self and absolute sense of power and integrity of being you in the fullest sense is going to be taken to the absolute limits here. Even if it's in very benign, gentle ways, it can still have a huge impact on you. Where there might be moments where you could seriously doubt your own integrity, your own sense of self-worth, your own sense of empowered or being empowered, to the point where like it could be to me it feels like it would almost be shocking, like how have you been giving away all your power in relationships? How have you been completely overpowering in relationships? This, to me, this feels like very, very extreme energy. And deep at the soul level here, I think that's what, to me, it feels like that's what will be exposed as you go through the eclipses, like the energy of absolutism, the energy of absolute power, where you might not have been aware of this before. You might not have been aware of like these very deeply based stressors that are inside of you that affect the relationship with the other. And it's like the energy of what happens when you're pinned against the wall. You know, what are you going to do? Fight or flight? Are you going to become completely dictatorial, like turn into a monster, a controlling monster? Or are you going to take full charge of your energy and power and be the most gracious and self-empowered person that you can be? So that, in other words, if it appears that they're doing things or hurting you in such a way where your ego is seriously damaged, are you going to blame them, or are you going to thank them for being a mirror so that you can see the own flaws and weaknesses in yourself that need to be released, that will be released, eclipsed out, so that the good version of this will have a chance to manifest. This is, I hope I explained. I tried to explain that in such a way where this is almost like a shock and awe thing, because I think it's inevitable that you're going to be exposed to the very best of yourself and the very worst of yourself when you go through these eclipse energies here. So, and it looks like it's something that needs to be known, because otherwise, if 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 this energy stays subconscious and you don't know that you are, let's say, operating or behaving this way, and it's almost like uncontrolled power. It's like the maniacal abuser, or or like the radical abusee, whichever version of it. It's the same thing. You just don't want it to go to extremes. So I think it's very important that your heart and soul deep down knows that this is probably what's going to happen. You're going to be taken to the absolute limits of your ability to cope. And in so doing, you discover your absolute limits, which is a true gift that you can probably only learn and discover in the context of a very deeply loving relationship, where you can go to those extremes of learning about yourself as reflected back to you from a significant loving other. Okay? And that's very tough. That puts tremendous pressure on the crucible. But again, in a loving relationship, truly loving relationship, both parties are invested already, and the crucible will withstand this, and you will come out the other side empowered. Okay, let's have a look. What's going on inside of them? Okay. I see this as very benevolent of them towards you. It might not be very romantic. If there's some kind of rifts or dysfunctions in the love life, in the relationship dynamics here, to me it looks like they're aware of it, but they're not going to take the full blame, because they are aware that they are in a relationship with you, and you are as equally responsible for the health of the relationship as they are. So it looks to me like they're happy to step aside and allow some potentially very volatile, inflammatory situations and conditions to occur, but they're not going to take it personally. All they want is to be loving, ultimately at the deep soul level, which requires them to take stock of their own selves in the context of this relationship, where they are going to learn a lot about themselves too, because everything is being stressed out and maxed out to the maximum, simply because you are an Aquarius living through the Leo new moon eclipses in your 7th house. So it's inevitable that they're going to feel like the mirror effect from you. So it feels to me deep down, they're going to learn a lot about how to clean up their own act in order so that they can be more functional. And so that's good. I feel that this is very good, because like they understand the value of the relationship. They understand the worth of who they are to you, who you are to them. And they might discover, oh my gosh, we've got a lot of weeds to take care of. We got to do a lot of repair and maintenance, and I have my share to do. Whatever's wrong with the relationship from my perspective that I could blame on you, I now know that I can't blame you. I have to take care of my own SHIT, just like you are figuring out how to take care of your own SHIT. Thank you very much. So it's a strange way of seeing how a relationship can be loving, nurturing, and maturing here. Let's have a look at the core itself. Okay, so in that, let's say, in good spirit, in order to what's that expression? In order to honor the extreme nature of this situation here, it looks like both parties are deliberately diving into it, going into it, knowing that they're going to be challenged in each way, but it brings out the best in you. It's almost like athletes, when athletes go into training for events later on, they're doing like mock-ups. They're like doing fake wars, like boxers who are in training. Like, you don't actually pulverize your coach or anything, or your training sparring partner. You're doing all your stuff, but you're doing that to learn and improve and grow your own skills and talents. And it's happening simultaneously with both of you, each of you in your own very unique ways in the context of a relationship. So in some ways, the relationship, like, it could spark a lot of passion and dynamics and like sparks and very unpredictable activities, which could be, let's say, exciting or scary or wonderful or passionate or delightful, in ways that happen when people are sparring, when people are pitting themselves against each other to find out the weak points in each other and the strengths in each other. So you learn and they learn by like giving each other room to do that, allowing that you're going to take some hits from them, they're going to take some hits from you, but it's good. It's not These are not malicious. It's like, you know, it's fun, it's sport. So let's have a look at prospects and momentum here. Okay. Okay, so this is good. My feeling here with the Page of Wands is what happens is it brings both of you, well, especially you, but the relationship to the point where you get to start on a new journey together. I see this Page of Wands here is very closely aligned with coming out of the eclipses on the other side, maybe like battle hardened, maybe kind of beat up and exhausted from having to live through all this stuff, but you get the chance to move on as knowing that you have both improved. You've gone through your own weird ways of advancing, letting go, releasing, eclipsing out the past, eclipsing in the new, and vice versa for them, because I guarantee whoever they are, the eclipse is affecting them as well. So what can happen is, my feeling here is with the little Page of Wands is like a very like joyful energy as you come out of all this stuff. Like the eclipses could be seriously rattling for you, but you know, in a few weeks, in a few months, you come out thinking like, man, that was heavy, but it was worth it. It's exciting because like we're starting all over again with a new chapter, and like a chance to grow to the next levels of maturity. Like you've already outgrown this uh, level of relationship, and you're going to get the chance to be eclipsed into the next level of relationship, where this has the potential to be stronger and better than before. Now, as to like an insurance policy with the eclipses, I have to say that if there's, I don't see any cards of separation here, but if in the fervor of what's happening here, both parties realize, you know, um, maybe we're all better off apart, eclipsing in, eclipsing out of each other's lives and whatever, and we move on our own individual journeys. Uh, no harm done, okay? No harm done, okay? Agreed. So we can still be mates. There doesn't have to be any kind of malicious, like bitter leftovers or anything like that. And that can be a form of evolution in relationships too. So just please allow for that, simply because of the eclipses, and especially for you, Aquarius, because it's happening over there in your seventh house. Okay, I'm not going to say anything more. I don't want to spoil it. You know the routine. Uh, Watch for your significant other. You know, do the cross watching. Watch your sun, moon, and rising. Okay, all of that good stuff. Thank you so much. All the best. All the best, Aquarius. Bye bye.